I could point out all the things about how bad this life can seem, but we work hard, we making it, forward motion on everything.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to 4WORDS Monday. I'm glad you're back with me. It's the day after Valentine's Day, and so I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there, and happy anniversary to my parents, 29 years strong, man, and I'm glad about that, right? So today, 4WORDS Monday, let's just jump into it. We're talking about the mentality of me against the world versus me a part of the world. And really, it might not be one versus the other, but we want to look and examine both. In my life, in music, amongst friends and family, sometimes we get this me against the world mentality, or you with your friends will have this us against the world mentality, or you might just have a us versus them mentality. And I'm not talking about like sports and things like that. And I'm not talking about extremes like, you know, I'm against murder, I'm against stealing, I'm against, you know, bringing harm towards other people, or having other people, you know, bringing harm towards me. Of course, we're all going to be against stuff like that, but just the idea of me against the world, man, that can cut real deep, and that can really affect the way that you live life. So for 4WORDS Monday, you know what I'm saying, we're talking about living to be known, and we're going to be talking about living to be known in light of the mentality that says me against the world or me a part of the world. Okay? So let's just run off of that, okay? I think sometimes we don't recognize when we're making it harder on ourselves or on our teams, even though we might, you know, be for the benefit of ourselves or be on the same team with someone. But if you have a mentality, even if it's in the back of your mind where it's me against or us against, in just the most generic way I can say, you know, in life, then you might not be able to recognize those moments when that mentality is really showing through, and you're making it harder on yourself in life, or you're making it harder on the team that you're working with. I think when it comes to playing like offense or defense, right, with how we are, either we're always on the offensive, like we're pushing something, or we're on the defensive, you know, we're kind of rejecting something. And I can't say always, but I'm talking in light of the mentality of me against the world or me a part of the world. You know, you're going to want to master one or the other. You're going to want to master, you know, how you drive something forward, or you're going to want to master how you guys address something. So examine that and see if maybe you having a me against the world mentality or me a part of the world mentality, how that affects, you know, the way that you move about in the world and live and do your things. I would say that a lot of times your feelings are not as important as your well-being, and I think the me against the world attitude comes from feelings, right? Nobody's down, nobody's gonna be there for me, nobody cares, nobody gives a, you know, you kind of just reach this point where you just, you know what, I guess they're against me and I'm against them. I have to do my own thing and separate myself. And again, I'm not talking about extreme situations, but I'm talking about just this general mentality that affects your everyday life. Okay? So living to be known, belief, knowledge, and practice. Relationships, communication, and finance. If we're looking at these things, which are the principle and the practical, right? That's why I kind of use those 6 things as my pillars. I would say belief. Examine what you believe about yourself and your place in the world, or your place in a job, or your place in your family, right? You have a place, and if you have the feeling like it's me against the world, or me against them, or us against whoever, like as a theme for life, rather than I'm a part of this family, I'm a part of the world, I have a place in my job, then, you know, it's going to affect you. So think about, what do you believe about these 2 phrases, and whether or not you take on these mentalities and how that affects you. Also ask yourself, what do you know, right, about how this affects you, right? Knowledge. do you have enough knowledge of what you're against to say that you're really against it? A lot of times we mix it all together and people don't know the difference. Sometimes you might say, I'm against this person or that person. Well, are you really against that person, or are you against ideas that that person presents, or are you against the practices that that person performs? And you might say, well, they're all one and the same. But like I said, in a general sense, like when you're walking around in your day and you're looking at things happening, people doing things, and you're coming across, life, ask yourself, do I know enough to say I'm against it? Right? Are you against status? Are you against culture? Are you against ideas? Are you against religion? Are you against dating? Are you against shopping? What are you against? And why are you against it? Do you know enough about it to be against it? And then also practice. Do you really practice and flesh out the ideas, the mentality of me against the world? Because you might not recognize that you are, but if you're practicing that in the things that you do, and it's just normal to you, and nobody's confronting that, confronting you with that, and if you haven't confronted yourself, with the truth that that's something that you're like, it's going to hold you back. A lot of your pain will be self-inflicted when you think it's someone else, right? Me against the world is you saying I'm against all this crap everybody else is doing and has going on, and in turn you think that they're against you. And that's simply from thinking that, rather than saying, well, my place in the world, my part in the world, this is how I feel, this is what I want to do, this is how I see the community, this is what I hope for. It's two different things. Your practice becomes different. Okay? Now relationships, your relationship to the world and your place in the world and your family and your job and all these things are very important. The people who you come across, either you're going to be against them, or you're going to be a part of what's going on, or you're not going to be a part of what's going on. See, even when you have the mentality, I'm a part of something or I'm not a part of something, I think it's a little easier to manage than saying I'm against something or I'm strictly for something. Something to think about. Communication. When you communicate, are you communicating that idea through your body language, with the words that you say, with the things that you do, the idea that you're against or that you're part of? And then again, with finances, this is always like the most touchy thing, but it's still so very practical because finances affect everybody's lives. Just don't let money alter or hinder your ability to do life with people, right? Like you stop calling, you stop visiting, you don't come around because you're so focused, right, on you and yourself, me against the world, right, that I can't deal with the world right now. And if you can't deal with the world, how can you be a part of it and then be in it? I'm not talking the phrase like be in the world, not of it, because that's kind of weird too, even though I understand what that means. But against the world or part of the world, right? Against something or part of something, not a part of something, involved in something. It's just the idea, the mentality. A lot of times what we say and the words we use affect what we do and how we do it. And when we're playing that in our head constantly, even if we're not physically saying that out of our mouths, even though that has its effects also, it's a driving force. So, living to be known, belief, knowledge, practice, communication, relationship, finance. Keep that in mind, right? Me against the world, or me a part of the world. I love you guys. Keep up. Check out my video that's coming later on today, which is going to be 2 sides by me and 2 of my best friends, one behind the boards, one singing, and then me laying the tracks. It's a real fun thing, a real fun time. So keep up with me. I love you guys. Let's just keep moving forward. 4 Words Monday. Live to be known. Peace.
I could point out all the things about how bad this life can seem, but we work hard, we making it. Forward motion on everything.